You know, I can almost not believe that this year is over. That we have finally made it through 2020. By the time this video goes live, it's already over for the most part. We've got a couple days left. New Year's Eve is upon us. And it's been a really interesting year to look back on. Outside of everything that has happened in the world, we've actually had a lot of interesting things in the tech and gaming space. Heck, on this channel, we went from 100 to 1,000 subscribers, a growth that I did not actually believe was possible. I admitted that our original goal was only to double from 100 to 200, and to be at almost 1,200 subscribers is just mind-blowing to me. We posted 69 videos this year. Nice. Which is a bit of a record for us when it comes to consistency. And when I look back at those 69 videos, I don't see something that I am slightly embarrassed of. You see, I personally have difficulty sharing my channel with those who actually know me. I am very much nervous of having the people who know me see what I'm like on the internet. And it's not because I'm different at all. It's mainly because I generally am just a bit of an anxious ball of energy that unfortunately is just very afraid of people confronting me about how I act. Other than that, like, I'm proud of this. Like, for the first time ever, I can look people in the eye and say, yeah, this is my YouTube channel, this is what I do. And I am extremely proud of the fact that, like, we've gone from the first video of this year, hello and welcome to A Slice of Pie, to the last video we just posted of this year. Hello and welcome to a video where we're actually gonna be taking a look at the Razer Hammerhead True Wireless. Heck, just this A-roll alone, if you compare Slice of Pie 1 to Slice of Pie, well, I don't even know what this one is, at the end of the year, you see that there's just a monumental shift in quality, and it's just amazing. And the best part is, most of this was not done with technological upgrades. In fact, a lot of it was just me learning how to use these cameras, getting appropriate lighting. Like, the actual amount of money that I spent on tech is nowhere even close to the growth that we showed and the improvement that we showed on this channel. And I'm honestly, like, amazed and bewildered that this year turned out the way it did. And I'm speechless almost. I set out to be better at this than I've been in the past, and I succeeded. I set out to double my subscriber count, and I succeeded. So I know I said thank you when we actually hit 1,000, but just thank you again for an amazing year. But that's enough for me. Let's roll the intro and actually talk about the amazing stuff that actually happened this year. Because this year, we're gonna do something different. We're actually gonna recap some of the best stories to come out of this year. So let's, intro. Let's talk hardware first, because this year was insane. Like, actually insane when it came to hardware. It started when the video was like, hey, we know you didn't really like the 2000 series, so we made the 3000 series, and we made it like all better than the 2000 series. In fact, we're completely making those GPUs irrelevant. Not only that, but our ray tracing performance is so much better that it actually is viable. Are you serious, Nvidia? Are you really, really going to pull out all the stops now after the 2000 series was kind of crummy? They did. And honestly, the GPUs themselves were reviewed extremely well. Everything from the 3080, the 3090, the 3070, and the 3060 Ti all did extremely well, and they performed much better than the counterparts for the 20 series. We saw a jump of almost double performance, which is unheard of in the GPU space for the most part. And the worst part about it was that none of us could buy them. I personally still have not been able to buy them. I really do want to get a 3080 still in the studio, and as soon as they become available, we will be water cooling it, and more importantly, at that point, it should actually mean that the supply has normalized to the point that scalpers are not a problem. But the reason Nvidia did this was actually because AMD actually came back swinging for the first time in over a decade. That's right, for the first time in a long time, AMD actually challenged Nvidia to be, well, number one. You see, AMD announced and released the 6800, the 6800 XT, and the 6900. Now the 6900 being $1,000 actually sandwiches itself between the 3090 and the 3080. It does perform better than a 3080 in most workloads, and a little bit less than a 3090, but in its price point, it is the only GPU. Meaning, Nvidia either has to lower the cost of the 3090 or bring something up to actually challenge it. So being completely uncontested is absolutely amazing, especially at the high end. That also being said, the 6800 XT does challenge the 3080 head to head, which is absolutely amazing because we haven't seen this kind of battle in a very long time. It's, for the first time ever, AMD and Nvidia's SKUs are actually competing on a name-to-name basis, which is, again, absolutely impressive. The worst part about this, though, is, well, again, you still can't buy them. The scalpers bought them all, and unfortunately, as great as they are and as well-reviewed as they have been, and reportedly the drivers for them work great, you just still can't get them. And unfortunately, it does seem like that trend is going to continue probably as long as Nvidia's GPUs can't be purchased, as well. At this point, people are just buying one or the other. It doesn't matter which one you buy because, well, in reality, they're about equal performance. AMD also launched their first CPU to beat Intel in every single scenario. But again, you can't buy them. They were reviewed extremely well. They perform exactly how AMD said they would. They are actually the chip to beat Intel, and currently is why AMD is on top. If you're trying to build the fastest gaming PC, it's AMD. But unfortunately, much like the most recent Intel chips, you can't buy them. They're completely out of stock. I had an opportunity to buy them, so I think the stock is better than the GPUs, but they're really just, as amazing as it is, it's just so hard to get. Unfortunately, though, the motherboard situation's a little bit better. We actually did see a lot of really awesome motherboards launched this year. We saw the Asus Dark Hero, which has a passive cooler over its chipset, and that's an X570 motherboard. We saw both the X570 and B550 Razer Edition Taichi motherboards, which are also really, really awesome. Granted, you can't get the X570 version right now. As soon as I get back in stock, I plan on picking that one up. We've seen a bunch of really awesome stuff around CPUs and GPUs. In fact, if it weren't for scalping and if it weren't for supply issues, this would be the best year to build a PC. Like, you're getting so much for your buck for the first time in a very long time. And to make matters worse, right? There's other products aside from the CPU, the motherboard, the GPUs that are currently sold out that are absolutely amazing. This right here, the Oculus Quest 2 came out this year, and this headset is what finally sold me on VR. It's finally what sold a lot of people on VR. It can be used standalone, can be used with your computer, can be used with Steam, can be used with Oculus. It is literally the perfect entry level, and it's at a cheap price, and it is just absolutely amazing for what it is. But much like everything else we talked about, you can't buy one. So essentially, I guess really what it boils down to is this year we got so much awesome tech, but thanks to scalping and thanks to supply issues due to other things in the world, we unfortunately didn't get to enjoy that tech. We also got the next generation of consoles. Like, just think about this. We got new GPUs, new CPUs from both AMD and Intel, and Nvidia and AMD. We've got the Oculus Quest, which is the best entry into VR, like possible, the cheapest, and honestly the most universally usable headset. And then we also got new consoles. We got the PlayStation 5, the Xbox Series X, both of those came out. And the worst part is, thanks to scalping, you cannot buy it. Yes, unfortunately, every awesome hardware release this year has been scalped, and it sucks. And the worst part is, the Series X is awesome. Like, it is just straight up awesome. The PlayStation 5, from what I hear, is also pretty awesome. Like, gaming-wise, these are the best consoles we've seen in a very long time. A significant jump forward, and yet nobody can play them because, well, scalpers. Well, and supply issues. They're, you know, the scalpers wouldn't be able to do anything if supply were able to keep up with demand, but neither is happening right now, so... That was just hardware. Let's actually talk about some software that came out. Well, specifically gaming games. We're talking about games. This year was interesting for games in general. Cyberpunk finally released 2077, and it's a buggy mess. CD Projekt Red kind of said that it would be if they released it early, and people just kept pushing and pushing and pushing, and so eventually they caved and they released it anyway. And it is not in a state that it should be for a full release. That being said, I do know that they're going to work on it and get it fixed, but the reviews are pretty much the same. Graphics, amazing. The city itself, beautiful, but there's not enough in it. It seems empty and devoid of any real life, which is kind of sad, especially because of how amazing the actual game looks, and the gameplay looks phenomenal. So honestly, like, a little sad to see this, but at the same time, kind of predictable. Like, CD Projekt Red did kind of say that this would happen if the game released this year, and we just were like, nope, release it anyway. Luckily, I didn't get too burned on this one because I didn't pre-order. I don't generally pre-order anything, to be honest, and I will wait till it's on sale because, well, that's what I do. I mean, I didn't even buy The Witcher 3 at full price. Digressing a little bit, yeah, that actually happened. This year also had Animal Crossing. Animal Crossing was a bit of a weird phenomenon this year. We saw everything from the likes of like political correspondence, like having islands and playing the game, to like more unusual stuff like KFC actually creating a KFC island. We're going to be talking about that a little bit later as well. But like, Animal Crossing has become sort of a singularity in itself of just sort of an interesting, it's a byproduct of a very interesting year. It definitely was the right game for the year though. Many people have relied on this game to see family members, myself included. And it's definitely been a game that has sold 2 additional Nintendo Switches to members of my family. So it's not, it was a great game. Perfect for the time, and it's still being enjoyed by a lot of people. It's still getting updates, and it's honestly like, I'm surprised that it hasn't really gotten like any of the Game of the Year awards, because in reality, I think it was absolutely perfect for what it was. We also got Doom Eternal, came out the same day as Animal Crossing, and the only reason I'm really bringing it up is because we got awesome like fan art, and like there was this awesome song that came out that was like a crossover between Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal. I have Doom Eternal as well, but digressing a little bit, I am going to link that song. Actually, I'll put a card up there. It's just a lot of fun, and yeah, we got a good Doom game that actually released with like no bugs. And yet, CD Projekt Red released Cyberpunk 2077. Digressing a little bit. Those were really some of my highlights. I mean, we also got a new Kingdom Hearts game this year, which was a rhythm game, absolutely out of left field. I did pick that one up as well. Pokemon released DLC for the first time ever instead of creating a midway game, which again, that was actually really big news earlier in the year. And we got a new Zelda game, again, out of left field, Zelda Warriors Calamity Ganon. Absolutely, like, from the people who've played it, love it. It is apparently an amazing game. I still need to get a hold of it myself personally, but just amazing all around. Oh yeah, and we got Pikmin. We actually got a new Pikmin game. Again, out of nowhere this year. Like, this year was great if you were a Nintendo fan. And then personally, like, I've been playing like Beat Saber and like VR experiences, but we're gonna do a whole separate video about VR and that whole ecosystem later. But yeah, that all happened. And then also, again, really weird stuff. Like, we got PSO2, Phantasy Star Online 2, the most weeb game on the internet here in the States this year. Like, this was the year that it came out stateside. And it is just fascinating. I've been playing a lot of it. I'm gonna admit I am trash, but at least I've been enjoying it. It is any game that has an anime intro, like with the actual characters, mind you, with like lyrics and everything. It's an experience all unto itself, and there's a reason it didn't come to the United States, because it definitely borders on what traditionally a video game can get away with, but since the censors have been pushed, by the time this game came out, it's not a problem. It's not going to score an M rating because of because of its content. But I will say, definitely something very interesting. It's completely free, so you can go ahead and check that on out for free. But it was definitely one of the highlights for the year for me. Oh yeah, and then we also returned to Skyrim and ESO as well this year. We had an event where we went to both Markarth and Solitude, along with Morthal. It was an interesting year all around when it comes down to it. And that event, those group of events, was definitely interesting. It was nice going back to Solitude and seeing it before everything. Markarth is a much more interesting city in ESO than it was in Skyrim. And the same actually goes for Morthal. Both of those were great cities in ESO, but by the time Skyrim comes around, there are like 3 huts. Well, Markarth is actually impressive, but it's much more impressive in ESO, where you have a completely different aesthetic, because the Forsworn, or well, what was the Forsworn, are currently in control. It's cool. If you are a huge fan of Skyrim and you have ESO, I do recommend the DLC. But that was just gaming stuff. Like, there's even more. Like, Spider-Man Miles Morales came out. Again, I don't have a PS5, so I'm really not going to be enjoying that one anytime soon. Just so many awesome things did come out this year. So it was a good year for gaming. It was a good year for hardware, minus scalpers. And at least the scalpers. Oh yeah, how can I forget? Mario 3D All-Stars Collection also came out this year. Oh my goodness, I did not put that one in the script, but I completely forgot about it. Yeah, on Switch, we got Mario Sunshine, Mario 64, and Mario Galaxy. Like, that's how crazy this year has been in that sense. But speaking of crazy, we do have some of our oddest stories of the year. And I think of any year, really. These are some of the stories that just made me personally, what's a good way to put it? Dumbfounded? So let's talk about them. KFC. This year, KFC has done the most in the WTF category. They have launched a gaming PC that warms your chicken. It has an insert section where you put your bucket of chicken to keep your KFC warm. Brilliant, dumb, and Linus already did it with pizza. But honestly, I think the KFC one might actually probably work a little bit better. Hilariously, if you combine it with one of the things that Intel did, which Intel partnered with EKWB and Cooler Master to release Sub-Zero coolers for Intel processors. If you combine that with a KFC warmer, you actually would probably actually get a pretty good use and heat exchange going. That's also one of our WTF crazy things that came out. Sub-Zero cooling this year has been made mainstream by Intel, EKWB, and Cooler Master. Drew a blank on their name. Point is though, Sub-Zero cooling in your PC actually obtainable without liquid nitrogen? Yeah, that's awesome, and it is a little on the crazy side. But going back to KFC, Did you know they released a dating sim this year? Yeah. And they released a romance movie, a trashy romance movie. Mario Lopez is Colonel Sanders. Yeah. This year, KFC has been doing weird stuff, and we mentioned the Animal Crossing Island too. They've just been doing weird stuff to try to like advertise themselves. A very unusual year, but at least was amusing. And then going back to EKWB, the one part of that trinity of unholiness that has led us to Sub-Zero cooling, they actually did some pretty weird stuff this year too. Distro plates were all the rage at the beginning of the year, and they made distro plates for everything. We got a fractal design distro plate. We got a distro plate for the Lian Li desk. A low volume part for a low volume part is honestly amazing. That being said, the one for the actual Lian Li desk actually will work pretty universally with a lot of different cases. Of course, we got different variations of the O11 Dynamic ones and an O11 Dynamic XL exclusive front panel one. Like, they were on fire releasing distro plate after distro plate. And not only them, but like Fantex also released another universal distro plate. Again, punt not attached to it. And then there was also, it was Thermaltake, I think. Thermaltake also released like one for like specifically their Core P series, specifically the P8, I think it was. That is like right angle city. Absolutely ridiculous year when it came to distro plates. But it gets even crazier because Thermaltake also released the distro case this year, which is in a entire distro plate with the ability to hold your PC hardware. So you can now hold your hardware in the plate itself. It looks interesting, and cost-wise, it's like halfway between a Singularity case, which actually makes it kind of compelling. Now, I know there were certainly more launches, more games, more everything to come out, but those were the highlights for me. And I want to hear your highlights down in the description below. What this year amazed you? What awesome thing happened in the PC, tech, and gaming space that really like stuck with you for the year? These were the stories that personally stuck with me, and I honestly am just, it's been an interesting year all around. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed watching this video, leave me a like. Maybe, as I said, comment down below. The subscription also helps, and I will see you guys again next year with more content. Trust me, we're not stopping anytime soon. I've got like so much to do and so little time to do it. So thank you guys. Wolfie out.